Welcome to all our viewers joining us on www.thepapare.com for another episode of Around the Wickets, and joining with me is Jehan Mubarak for today's episode. Welcome, Jehan.
Thanks, Sudarshana.
Now, the T20I series in India was Sri Lanka's first assignment as an international assignment, and the first T20I didn't go to plan. With it being washed off. Now, interesting fact happening there, Jehan. The game was delayed because of rain, and a little after, when the umpires went in to do the inspection, they found out that there were wet patches on the pitch, and we saw some bizarre methods to try and dry it out with irons, hair dryers, and everything. From vacuum cleaners to brought in to dry up the pitch. I think very embarrassing for world's richest cricket board.
Yes, it is, and given that they're playing against Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka know how to handle situations like that, it rained only for an hour, and even one of the issues was obviously there would have been holes in the covers where the water had fallen onto the pitch, or when they were removing the covers, there may have been some spillage onto the square. But even then, after you get water on the pitch, the methods that they used, this was like from long time ago. I remember in our school times, they used to have a piece of aluminium or takarang and light a fire underneath it to dry it up. So it's a very primitive method and used to get helicopters to come and dry the ground. But game has moved on now, so you would expect BCCI to be able to handle situations like that.
Especially given the fact that Indians are thinking and planning of sending a rocket to the moon. I mean, you'd expect India to have a little bit more technology in place to try and get the pitches dry. Now, Guwahati ground staff was, I'm sure most of them will be in trouble because it was the first game India was going to play at the home ground, and that's not the way you want to try and advertise your country, or Guwahati for that matter, for getting advertisement for all the wrong reasons. Now that was that. But going into the second T20I, we are kind of glad that the first one got washed out, isn't it? Sri Lanka losing the game by 7 wickets. India absolutely dominant. I think it was the Indian bowlers who got this victory for India. At the pitch report, it was a 170-180 wicket at the minimum. But Sri Lankans never got going, with the Indians being absolutely on point with their bowling.
Yeah, I think Sri Lanka looked a bit rusty with the bat, and India were on the money from ball one. Okay, the first ball was a wide from Bumrah, but after that they were hitting high 140s, and like we spoke earlier, they did go in with the 3 fast bowlers. There was a lot of assistance for the quicks, and they were hitting high 140s, and they had the variations, and Thakur, Saini, Bumrah, all fighting for places in the T20 World Cup. And India have a lot of depth when it comes to their bowling attack. They can leave out some of their best bowlers and still come up with match-winning performances.
Now, Thakur getting 3 for 23, and also Saini being he was averaging 145 every time he bowled. So this is presenting a big problem for Sri Lanka, isn't it? Coming on to the third T20I as well, because this Indian team has a massive depth, because you look at people like KL Rahul and Shikhar Dhawan opening with, you don't even feel the absence of Rohit Sharma.
Yeah, Rohit Sharma, Hardik Pandya, you don't even know Jadeja. You forget that they're sitting on the bench. But for Sri Lanka, I felt that it was, for the batsmen, it was a big step up from what they're used to, the extra pace, the extra bounce, the relentless accuracy of their bowlers. But I still feel that we have it within ourselves to score against this type of opposition, which is what we need to do to be successful at international level. Avishka showed glimpses of what he's capable of. So did Kusal Perera. I think we sometimes got a bit carried away trying to hit the ball too hard without timing the ball, which is what India did when they came out to bat. And spend a bit more time at the crease, assess the conditions, play yourself in before going for the big shots.
Now, plenty of negatives to talk about, cons to talk about in that second game. One big blaring thing that will really overshadow this story is the fact that Isarudana was injured and he didn't come out to bowl as well. And from the unconfirmed reports that we are receiving, it said that he will only be fit, if at all, for the West Indies tour. So, and that's a long wait. And what are your thoughts on Sudarshana's miss in this?
He's one of our most experienced T20 players, and we definitely would have missed him on the field with the ball. He's very good on the field as well. And going forward, but also I feel sorry for him. He's just got an IPL contract. And I hope this injury is not going to be a long-term thing which will affect him getting into the IPL. Very few Sri Lankan players have managed to get into the IPL, and I hope he recovers soon.
And talking about bowlers, the only shining light on that game was Wanindu Hasaranga, who's now been turned into a spinning all-rounder when it comes to national duty, although he's a genuine batting all-rounder when it comes to the domestic circuit. Wanindu got 2 for 30 during his 4 overs, and his googly was very effective, Jehan. And also the fact that he didn't have much runs to go at, and when you do have a lot of runs, that's when batsmen will take risk against a leggy, and that's when Wanindu can really come into effect. So, do you think Wanindu is going to be a prime spinner going into the future tournaments?
Wanindu can be a prime spinner, and along with Dhananjay De Silva. Sandakan, I'm not entirely certain how he will fit into this, but Wanindu Hasaranga, yes, definitely, and he can bat. He showed yesterday that he can bat. He got a 2 or 3 overs at the end, and he got 3 or 4 boundaries in the last over of Bumrah, so he shows that he can bat. I also was impressed with Lahiru Kumara. Even though he did go for runs, he troubled the batsman with the extra pace and bounce. There were a couple of close chances, especially of KL Rahul. So I think that's something. There is a lot from the bowling side of it. There are a lot more positives than the batting. Malinga also bowled well initially, the first overs, but I think India know how to play Malinga a lot better than most other teams because he's played in the IPL so frequently. But bowling, I'm quite happy with in how we went about it. If we had more runs on the board, we could build more pressure.
Yes, definitely. The troubled area for Sri Lanka during the second T20I was definitely batting. Now, Jehan, do you think the batsmen getting out after setting themselves in, especially in a shorter format of T20, and also there were no big partnerships to talk about. I think that's where India really excelled. They were very quick to take the singles.
Yep.
They were, and during those middle over periods, Sri Lanka's trouble of spin has really been being shown. Even Mahela Jayawardene, who was on commentary, spoke about it. Sri Lanka have historically struggled with spin against India and maybe also Pakistan as well.
Yeah.
So were those the main contributory factors of Sri Lanka going down with a below par score?
Yeah, I think the key to T20 cricket is to play yourself in while rotating the strike. So you don't eat up a lot of balls, you get bat on ball and you get your singles, and which is what India did very well. Shreyas Iyer on the first ball 2 runs, second ball 1 run. So he was from ball 1, while he was playing himself in, he was keeping the scoreboard moving. After 10 overs, Sri Lanka was 67, India was 77. There wasn't a huge difference in the scores, but after that we lost our way a bit there, where we were trying, all of us were trying to hit the ball too hard, look for the boundaries, and we completely forgot about the 1s and the 2s. And I think if you look at the number of dot balls that Sri Lanka played down, the dot ball percentage is quite high. And in T20 cricket, the best teams play 20 to 30 dot balls per inning. And in Sri Lanka's innings, I think that was more close to 40 or 50. And that will make a big difference towards the final score.
So there you go, very important facts to think about. Now, talking about batting and also the team balance, Angelo Matthews, there was a big hype about him being able to bowl, and he's available to bowl, will really help balancing out the team. But come the first T20, he wasn't named in the squad. It was the same team that went into the second T20I. What do you think about Matthews' exclusion? If he was included, could he have done something different?
I mean, if you're having Angelo in the 15, you might as well have him in the playing 11. I mean, it doesn't make sense to have someone like Angelo Matthews on the bench. So either he's fit enough to play or he's not fit. If he's fit enough to play, then you play him. Otherwise, you don't have him in the 15. So I'm a bit confused as to how that went there. With Isuruddin injured, maybe he will come in for the third game. I hope he comes in because in that middle order, as you very correctly said, like keeping the strike rotating, you need a bit of experience in that middle order in T20 cricket, and I don't think we have that with the batsmen right now.
Okay, so we'll move on to the third T20I, which will be played in Pune. Now, Sri Lanka will be forced to make one change with Sudarshana missing. Now, except that change, do you think there will be any changes coming in, and if so, what will be your level?
I wouldn't change the team. It's again, like I'm not a fan of changing teams after one or two games. If this is the team that was picked, I would play this for two, unless the pitch is completely different and you need to play another spinner. Yeah. So if you have a look at the pitch, we can make a call then. But otherwise, I would play the same team with Angelo coming in either for Isuru Dana, or if they want to bring another fast bowler, then maybe you can leave Oshada out. But I think Oshada is our future talent, so I would still keep him in the team.
Okay, so you'd bank on Angelo coming in for Isuru over Kasan Rajitha replacing.
Yes, unless there is a lot of grass on the wicket, because Dasun Shanaka stepped up and he bowled fine. Yeah. So we have our pace bowling covered. We have Dasun, Lasit and Lahiru Kumara, and then Angelo can bowl if required. So I would bring Angelo in for Isuru.
Brilliant. So the good news is that Sri Lanka has a 100% winning record in Pune, because they won the only T20I which had been played in Pune, which is a very, very good statistic to go on, at least. So we wish all the best for the Sri Lankan cricket team, who are currently in India. Maybe they can muster up a win, put something special on the board, and draw the series, come back with a drawn series. It'll be 1-1 at the end. So let's move on to the Sri Lanka Under-19 squad for ICC Under-19 World Cup. Very interesting here, because Sri Lanka has never won a World Cup, and from the last time also we were knocked out from the quarter-final stage. 15-member Under-19 squad has been released with Nipun Dhananjaya being the skipper, Kamil Mishara, Han Wickramasinghe, Tavisha Abhishek, Dilum Sudhira, Amish De Silva, Navod Parnavitana, Ashane Daniel, Ravindu De Silva, Sonal Dinusha, Matisha Patirana, Chamindu Vijay Singh, Mohammad Shamas, Dilshan Madhushanka and Khamidu Nadishan making up the 15. So 4 players, that's Tavisha Abhishek, Matisha Patirana, Chamindu Vijay Singh and Mohammad Shamas have been included in this lineup. They did not they weren't part of the team which toured West Indies and won the Tri-Nations as well. Jehan, what are your thoughts on this squad?
I think a couple of the guys are coming back from injury. Dilshan Madhushanka, fast bowler, he had picked up an injury, so he was always going to come back. Shamas also was in the mix of things, so I think batting was a concern in the West Indies. A lot of the games were low scoring games, so I think the selectors would have decided to bring in some stability it was mainly the middle order that needed some stability, so brought in some batsmen there. But overall, I think the main playing 11 is not going to change much, with maybe Dilshan Madhushanka coming in. It looks a very well balanced team. There's plenty of options. You have a lot of all-rounders in there with spin bowlers, fast bowlers. So I'm confident that we can do well in this World Cup.
Right. So the team has 5 batsmen to 2 wicket keepers in Mohammad Shamas. Maybe that was another factor that they thought about. Kamil Mishara being the only wicket keeper available in the team, they would have wanted a backup keeper as well. Do you think that would have influenced Mohammad Shamas coming in?
Possible. I'm not sure, but Navod Parnavitana, Ahan, Nipun Dhananjaya, they can keep part-time, but I don't think that Hashan Tilakaratne will risk them in a Under-19 World Cup game. So perhaps Shamas coming in is as a backup wicket keeper option.
Right. Sri Lanka will play against India, New Zealand and Japan in the group games. Only 2 teams get qualified to go in. So it's going to be difficult with India and New Zealand also, because both these teams are very good at the under-19 level. But Sri Lanka have done very well with preparation to this under-19 World Cup, isn't it, Jehan? They've gotten a lot of opportunity. They played in the Mercantile T20 tournament as well, and then they did quite well in West Indies.
Yeah. So they adjusted to the conditions well in the West Indies, but again, how well they adjust to the conditions in South Africa, and the pitches in South Africa can vary a lot from Joburg to Cape Town to Bloemfontein, Durban, it's very different. So you might play their first round in, I think they're playing in Potchefstroom and Bloemfontein. And then if they go to Joburg, where it's at a high altitude, or they go to Durban, which is by the sea, which is much slower, the experience, and this is where I think Hashan has played a lot of cricket in South Africa. So the playing 11, the combinations, whether you play the extra spinner or the fast bowler, whether you pitch for 200 runs, 250 or 300, that's going to be very, very important in this World Cup.
So there you go, the Sri Lankan under-19s will travel to South Africa with a lot of hope to try and make a name for the country, and these are the young ranks in waiting to take on national cricket. Two of Jehan's charges as well, Kamil Mishra and Han Wickramasinghe, part of this team. I'm sure you're missing them in the school circuit, but both of them are very, very important cogs in the Sri Lankan wheel.
Yeah, it's good to have two royalists in the team. We haven't had Sri Lankans in the under-19 squad for a while. And I hope not just them, I mean, they do well. It's good for Royal, it's good for Sri Lanka, and this entire squad can go on and maybe not just win the under-19 World Cup, win the whole ICC World Cup in another 4 or 5 years.
So there you go, a lot to look forward to when it comes to cricket. And the question of the week, which Sri Lankan bowler has the best bowling figures in an Indore SL T20I history? That's which Sri Lankan bowler has the best bowling figures in Indore SL T20I history is the question. Do answer on the comment section below. And last week's question was who scored most runs in Indo-Sri Lankan T20I matches, and the answer of course was Rohit Sharma, 280 runs. 89 runs before this series. We all remember that battering we got at the hands of Rohit Sharma, and luckily for us he's not part of this tournament, and but like we discussed, we are absolutely not missing him with the likes of KL Rahul, Shikhar Dhawan and also Virat Kohli in a real swing. And the winner for last week was Sachit Lakshan, who got it right. You will be contacted by our cricket team who will advise you how to collect your prize. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already, and click on the notification button in order to not miss anything that we put out on ThePapare.com, Sri Lanka's #1 sports hub. It's been an absolute pleasure, Jehan, once again having a chat with you about everything that is cricket in the country. We look forward to having you in the next episode as well.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the bell icon for our latest content.